Every team lives inside a web of stories. Some stories give life, others burn everything in their path. And the most dangerous stories are the ones we don't realize we're telling. In Feeding the Cobra, I talk about how toxic narratives fuel toxic behavior. These narratives often begin quietly: a misunderstood comment, a misinterpreted email, a moment of insecurity. Before long, we've constructed an entire storyline about someone's motives, character, or intentions. And once that story takes root, it becomes the lens through which we interpret everything they do. This is how cobras get fed. A team member speaks sharply in a meeting, and instead of asking what's going on, we assume arrogance. Someone hesitates to share an idea, and we label them as disengaged. A leader makes a difficult decision, and we interpret it as favoritism. These stories burn because they reduce people to characters. They strip away nuance, complexity, and humanity. But here's the deeper truth. The stories that burn usually reveal more about us than about the other person. They expose our fears, our insecurities, our unhealed places. They show us where pride has masqueraded as principle and where prejudice has disguised itself as discernment. So how do we interrupt these destructive narratives? We start with curiosity. Curiosity is the fire extinguisher of toxic storytelling. It slows us down long enough to ask, what else might be true here? It invites us to consider the deeper fear or need beneath someone's behavior. It opens the door to empathy. Next, we practice appreciative inquiry. Instead of assuming the worst, we look for the good. We ask questions that draw out strengths, values, and intentions. This doesn't mean ignoring harmful behavior. It means refusing to interpret it through a lens of suspicion. We also need to cultivate spaces where people can tell their own stories. When someone shares their fears, their pressures, their hopes, their wounds, the cobra loses its power. Toxic narratives thrive in silence. They dissolve in the presence of truth and love. And finally, we must replace corrosive stories with redemptive ones. Stories that invite growth, stories that honor dignity, stories that remind us that every person is fearfully and wonderfully made, capable of both brokenness and beauty. When teams shift from stories that burn to stories that heal, everything changes. Trust deepens, collaboration strengthens, and the culture becomes a place where people can flourish, not because they're perfect, because they're seen.